If someone is charged with criminal sexual conduct, will they appear on the sex offender registry? That's a common question for anybody charged with these crimes or considering about a guilty plea in a crime like this. And here's the answer. Most criminal sexual conduct charges in Minnesota will result in registration. There are some ways around it in certain circumstances, but here's the general rule. A fifth-degree criminal sexual conduct often does not carry with it registration, or at least most parts of a fifth degree. However, if you were first charged with a more severe criminal sexual conduct and then you later amend your charge or change your charge to a fifth-degree criminal sexual conduct, and they arise out of the same set of facts and circumstances, which gets a little confusing, but basically there's this. Sometimes you have to register for 10 years, and that's kind of the minimum if you have to register at all. In fact, that is the minimum if you have to register at all. Other sorts of crimes in Minnesota, meaning the higher levels of criminal sexual conduct, if you're found guilty or plead guilty to them, is a lifetime registration. That means that you're going to have to register as a sex offender for the rest of your life, of course. In addition to that, there's another way that you trigger a lifetime registration, and that is if you have a prior crime that you had to register for before. So if you have a 10-year registration and now you do something else and you're found guilty or plead guilty to that in another crim sex case, now you have to register for life the second time around. So that's the two ways you can get lifetime registration. People kind of wonder, what does that look like? Well, in Minnesota, we have 3 levels, basically, of the offender registry. And there are some levels, of course, the level 3, for example, where if somebody moves into a neighborhood, you've heard of the neighborhood alerts, and there's a flyer that's put out, and there's a meeting in the neighborhood about that this person's going to be moving into the neighborhood. That is a possibility depending on the characterization of the level of the sex offender that they're determined, which is determined after the fact. The courts don't determine that in your case. The prosecutor doesn't determine it in your case. Your lawyer can't negotiate that for you during your case. That's determined after by the Bureau of Criminal Apprehension. So that's something that comes after. But suffice it to say that most first-time offenses, especially that are not violent or particularly egregious, do not trigger that full level 3 predatory offender registration that gets the neighborhood alerts. Don't get me wrong, there are plenty of obstacles to having to register as a sex offender, including always having to notify police where you're living, even when you move, and if you fall out of that, that's a way to violate it, and then you're taken to jail, you're charged with another crime. So it gets to be particularly cumbersome, and it will take you out of a lot of different options you want to have in life if you're on the sex offender registry. So it is serious, but I think sometimes there's a misconception. I want to be transparent with you here. I think everybody thinks about sex offender registry. That means the neighborhood meetings anytime you move anywhere and the flyers and those sorts of things. That's not for the bulk of people who have to be on the sex offender registry. That part at least doesn't happen. Again, not that it's a pretty thing anywhere, but I don't want to make it sound even worse than it is. And so just know that most people do not become a level 3, especially during a first-time offense. But nonetheless, the sex offender registry is a serious thing, and that's another encumbrance that can take away issues for employment or where you can live or where you can participate in activities and a whole bunch of other things, so beware of that. If you have more questions about criminal sexual conduct, I'm criminal defense attorney Ryan Pacyga. You can shoot me an email, ryan@arrestedmn.com. You can call me, 612-339-5844. Or you could get me on my website. That's arrestedmn.com. If you or a loved one are facing accusations of criminal sexual conduct, I'm here to help. I'm here to give you straight answers, tell you the truth, let you know what you really have to worry about and what you don't, and I can take an analysis of your case and give you an honest opinion about what's going on and how I could help.